First and foremost, apologies to everyone. I'm not Parvinder Johar. I'm not the CEO and the founder of Avathon, but I'm here stepping in on his behalf. Parvinder unfortunately could not make it. He got tied up in another customer meeting, but he sincerely apologizes for not being able to attend. So I'm a vice president at Avathon, responsible for overseeing all of our AI programs and services in North America. So a quick intro about the company, Avathon. We're a leading provider of AI, industrial AI solutions, products and platform, catering to different industries like aerospace and defense, manufacturing, oil and gas. And we were founded in 2013. We've got 3 offices. Our headquarters is actually in Pleasanton, California, close to the Bay Area. And then we've also got another facility in Austin, Texas. That's where we were founded. And then and in India, we've got an engineering team in India too. And of course, and we've got like sales offices across the globe. So today I'm going to be speaking about primarily about the work we do for aerospace and defense. And with that, let's start with the bold vision that Avathon has. So we're essentially, the bold vision is essentially using the power of AI to improve and transform aerospace and defense, the landscape, using agentic AI. So agentic AI, if you don't know what agentic AI is, it's basically like independent AI systems that can independently, autonomously predict, reason, can execute on actions, and also are goal-centric, okay? So that's what it is. So with that, let's talk about the current landscape. So we're dealing with about 100 trillion critical infrastructure that's at stress. And this is not just a tagline, but this is actually a wake-up call to the world. Besides this, specifically for aerospace and defense, what are some of the key challenges that we're seeing in aerospace and defense is aging aircrafts. We're also dealing with like immense or massive turnover of like skilled manpower and talent within the aerospace and defense organizations, as well as reduced or consolidated vendor supplier thing, which is again adding to like the challenges in mission readiness. So some stark numbers that we have on the slide is we've only got about 62% of aircrafts that are mission ready and ready to go. We spend about $50 billion in the United States alone on the annual cost of AOGs, of airline AOGs. So when aircraft are grounded, so the events cost with that. And then as far as like people shortages and skilled, skilled personnel, we're looking at about 25,000. Like we're forecasting that by 2028, we're going to see a shortage by like 25,000 of skilled personnel. And overall, looking at the supplier vendors actually reducing for the defense contractors by 27.6%. So overall, a pretty stark picture of what's going on in the aerospace and defense industry. And so now let's talk about like how Avathon and what Avathon is doing as far as like our industrial solutions and how that helps in solving these challenges that we're seeing in A&D. So the key, I would say our flagship product for Avathon is our industrial AI platform. So just going a little deep into the technical layer. So we do have, it's a multi-stack layer with the lowest layer is like our data platform, which essentially allows for us to ingest data from different sources. So it could be time series data, like continuous, discontinuous. It could be images. It could be sensor data. As well as data from BOMs, so from different assets, like aircraft assets. So it could be engines, it could be avionics systems. And then on top of this, the data layer, you do have like a graph layer, which essentially like collects all of these different data sources. It connects all the data sources, and then it finds relationships between the data, and then allows for like, the user to get like digital insights from this data. So essentially to make this data consumable. And then on top of the AI services is where we have our algorithms, and we have the LLMs and the knowledge graphs, and we have computer vision technology that is on the topmost layer. So how do we use this AI platform to solve like aerospace and defense challenges? So the first is like predicting. So the use of our AI platform to predict failures in critical assets well before it actually happens, and allowing maintainers, operators to proactively take action. So the way we do this is by actually analyzing the sensor data, and we look for anomalous patterns. So the models are actually trained on normal behavior. So this is a type of AI technology called NBMs. So we train the models on normal behavior, and so when it's monitoring the readings from the sensors and it sees some anomalous behavior, it sends us an alert. So that's how you're predicting like failures. Then the next step after that is like, so once the failure happens, you do see a repair that is needed, using AI technology to actually help with accelerating the repairs, helping the maintainers and the operators to know what are the actions or what are the parts that need to be replaced to solve this or to address the issue. And then the next, taking it one step forward, prescribe. So give the maintainers who are maybe like they could potentially be like new hires or like junior maintainers, giving them a very step-by-step, clear directions on what are the actual steps that need to be performed to replace the part. And the way we do this is by actually reading the manuals and the textual like information that's in the databases and giving them a very prescriptive set of actions that they need to perform. So essentially like, trying to make this as foolproof as possible, helping like give the repair technicians a baseline to start from. So they're not really relying so much on the domain expertise of like very seasoned technicians and personnel in your staff. And then the last thing is to automate the entire flow using an agentic AI architecture, and also leveraging this for any orchestration within supply chain. So that, in a nutshell, is what we do at Avathon with our industrial AI platform. And I think I've got one more slide. All right. So who do we work with? So I forgot to mention this, we're a portfolio company to Boeing. And we're right there, actually. We've got a tabletop over there. And we work really closely with other OEMs, as well as, and we've got a few listed out here, as well as US Air Force. Work really closely with the AFRL on F-16 maintenance, providing them an AI-based solution that helps the maintainers quickly accelerate, diagnose repairs, and upskill the maintainers, as well as with MROs, helping them accelerate the repairs, diagnosis of engine parts, avionics systems, and then with OEMs, providing them a data platform where you have like 50,000 users on it who can essentially look at data from different sources, operations, maintenance data, supply chain, look at all of it, and then find relationships between this data and quickly answer questions and and troubleshoot. So that's what we do, and I do have a colleague of mine here as well. So if there's any questions, if you do want to have any follow-up discussions, happy to take it. And again, apologies that Parvinder could not be here, but yeah, but we're glad that we're here. So. That's it. That's all I have.
Thank you. No, it's perfect. Thank you again.
Sure.
Do we have any question from the audience?
Do you all have any questions?
Oh, there is one.
Oh, you do have a question.
Yes, thank you for your presentation. Maybe a general question, but you changed from Spark Recognition to Avathon. You changed your headquarters and everything.
Yes,
how does it change your vision, how you developed the company? What was the objective behind it?
Yeah, so I think fantastic, and I'm really pleased to know that you know more about the history about the company. So you're right. So when we founded in 2013, it was Smart Cognition. It was founded by Amir Hussain. And then it was, I think later in 2023, we had a new CEO, a new brand, and then we rebranded to Avathon. Essentially, I think from a vision standpoint, we're still leveraging the core technology, the AI expertise, like the thought process. I mean, I would say the thought leadership still exists within the company. We still have the same chief data science officer directing and leading the team. I think what has shifted, I would say, is more of the focus towards industrial AI. Shifting more towards, like, instead of going and tackling everything which is non-industrial, we're focusing on an industrial AI, a platform-based approach. So when we're talking to customers, it's more of the platform. And, so that when you're going into and so you're talking to an OEM, you make a platform play as opposed to like a point solution to them so that we can grow with the customer. Okay? So that's what it is.
Perfect. Thank you again. Thanks. So moving on, ask for the moon, and we have Clément, yes, coming on stage to present his inspirational journey.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. So my name is Clément, and I'm going to talk to you about why. Why do we build solutions for the aerospace? Why do we build Ask for the Moon? And that's why I like the invitation, and thank you for welcoming me on the Bourget, to actually tell you about my story, the stories of my co-founders that took us to where we are now, which is Ask for the Moon. We are AI assistants dedicated for industry and especially critical knowledge in the industry. So you can see our customers here. You see our partners. We also rose more than 5 million last year. And that's the point we are at. So we built the most reliable and precise assistance for the industry. But the story starts actually much longer in the past. So my dad is an architect, and he learned his trade with a pencil and paper. And when I was 7, he had the idea that maybe computers are going to be the future, and I got my first computer when I was 7. And it took me directly and became my passion. I built my first computer from parts at 10 and my first website at 12. And when I saw for the first time people that I didn't know come on my website and talk together, exchange knowledge, and become more intelligent because I built a space for them to exchange, that's when I understood what was my calling in life. So I spent my life building tools so people could actually be closer together and grow together. And as I see it, technology is a way to shrink space and time and make sure that the people who have something to share have people to share it with. So my whole career was about startups and collaborative platforms. I built platforms for farmers, for journalists, for artists, and now for industrials. And when we started Ask for the Moon in 2018, at the time, generative AI didn't exist. What we wanted to do is a tool that enables people within a company to find the right peers, the right colleagues who have the knowledge, the know-how, the experience that was useful for them to be shared in order to go faster in their job. And the problem we wanted to address is how come in every industrial companies, and especially in aerospace, we do the same mistakes over and over again. We reinvent the wheel over and over again. Whereas just finding people who already made the mistakes or invented the wheel would actually save us hours, days, months, years, if only we can find them. So that's the basics of Ask for the Moon. The basis is humans, especially experts, they hold the knowledge, and they are the ones that make a difference. How do we make sure that the experts and the knowledge holders, the subject matter experts, are visible at its maximum, recognized at the maximum, and the knowledge they have is shared to the right people at the right time. And so we were lucky enough to work with very high criticity, high complexity customer, especially Framatome and Airbus. And at Framatome and Airbus, we learned how complicated it is to actually map the knowledge of everyone, how complicated it is to actually comply with the rules that you must obey in order to ship products, in order to do your job. And that's how we built our AI, directly working with the experts at Airbus, Framatome, but also Eiffage, SNCF, etc., etc. And this goes to 2022, where we have our products, we have customers, but now generative AI comes. And as you see, the point of my career, and the point of Ask for the Moon is to reduce space and time between people, to make people talk together, to have people exchange. And generative AI, sadly, it's everything but that. When we saw ChatGPT arrive, it was not at all something we were fond of, because instead of helping people connect with each other, share ideas, and grow together, it isolates people. It's like Deliveroo, it's like YouTube, it's like Uber. It's like a way not to talk with other humans, but just consume knowledge through an AI, which is very dangerous if you think about the industrial use cases. For example, if you are maintaining and doing the quality tests on, let's say, an engine of an aircraft, and you need knowledge that you source through ChatGPT, and you don't know where the knowledge comes from, you don't know who are the people responsible, you don't have any explainability of your results, and the possibility of making a mistakes are high, because right now ChatGPT is between 30 and 40% of wrong answers. What happens if your aircraft is supposed to take off tomorrow? So taking out the human factor and the human exchanges and the human responsibility out of the equation is very dangerous. It's perhaps good when you are writing LinkedIn posts and using ChatGPT for that, or you're writing an essay for your teacher when you are 16. But when you are actually doing a real job in a critical environment, it doesn't do the trick. So what we do at Ask for the Moon is we don't use generative AI to build chatbots that isolates people. We use generative AI to build AI assistants to make sure that the right people connect at the right time. And how does it work? First, we stayed true to our first calling, which was the experts are the one who control what's happening. So the experts are the one creating AI assistants, selecting the sources, and making sure that the input of the AI is reliable, up to date, and can be trusted. And then they can publish their assistants to their company. So for example, at Airbus, we have manufacturing engineering assistants, we have quality control assistants, we have non-destructive quality control assistants, we have a lot of assistants dedicated to precise core business subjects that are maintained and owned by the experts of these subjects. Any colleague, any Airbus employee can come on the platform, talk with the assistants, ask questions, and get the answer. No matter the vocabulary they have, no matter the language they have, our assistants are able to bridge the gap between the documentations and the knowledge of the experts and the ability of the employee to consume this knowledge. The assistants are able to retrieve data from a lot of different sources, especially very complex ones. So if you look at the density of the documents you have in aerospace and you input them into ChatGPT, they're going to be lost very fast. So we built an ingestion engine able to really understand the specifics of very hard documents. So, for example, 12,000 pages of specification. This is the kind of documents that we are able to input. And the big difference, and that's where we go back to our roots and shrinking time and space between people, is we are the only assistants that are able to say, I don't know. So instead of hallucinating an answer and making mistakes that will lead to mistakes on the ground, our assistants say, I don't know, I cannot answer that because I don't have the right trust level. But I know 4 people in your company that have this knowledge. And I'm going to help you talk with them so you can get the answer you need. People talk together. People who didn't know each other, they exchange their knowledge. They get to the answer. The answers are validated by the experts who own the assistance and become a new source for the assistance. So what Ask for the Moon is just not a platform to consume knowledge individually. It's a platform to share and build and develop knowledge collectively in a company and even across companies. And that comes from a long history of building tools to have people work together and share knowledge together that we injected with the power of generative AI, but not just to isolate people, but to really make them stronger together and more clever. Thank you.
Thank you, Clément. Thank you for this speech. We'll have to go to the next inspirational journey. Thanks. We've Dropla. Yes, this one. Yes. So,
thank you.
Let's get started with the last inspirational journey from the CEO from Dropla, and after we'll have a panel discussion. Thanks.
Hi, everybody. Not a big stage, but it's okay. My name is Slava, and I'm an ex-lieutenant of the Ukrainian Armed Forces in the Armored Division, but I've been living in Denmark since the war started. I left Ukraine like 5 days before the war started, not because I thought that war's gonna break out, but it was a coincidence, you might say. A friend asked me to go and parlay on his behalf for his company, because he didn't have anyone who was fluent in English and could strike a bargain. So he asked me, and I'm like, free trip to Sweden. Count me in. So I went to Sweden, and then I had a ticket back on 24th of February. It was the day the war started. And so I was torn apart by, okay, what do we do here? Like sometimes lives put you in these positions where you have to choose, and the choice is never easy. I chose to stay in Sweden and attract resources to Ukraine because I know that it's possible. We founded a company focused on demining and demining technologies. And I'm just going to quickly guide you through what's going on, a small story. So the Dropla started like 2 years ago, but we have gained very fast track. We are now 35 full-time. We have attracted around 3 million euro in funding, and we're already starting pilots with big primes. But behind every soul here is determination to demine Ukraine. This is how it started, and this is how we honor it. This first inception moment, when we talked with my co-founder, Dima Zarubin, he said we have big problems with landmines, and I felt at this moment that if I will do that and help build this company, this will help me to scale, even the scales of the contribution. So this is what drives us. To give you a quick overview, we've built this toolbox for the drones and for the demining. So it's in the box. You have 6 different sensors, 10 different unmanned systems, both aerial and the ground, capability to survey up to 50 hectares per day within different layers. The technology is not new. It's called sensor fusion. You just need to fly and scan all together. The idea is that we release the drones simultaneously and not switch the payloads, so we can operate a fleet of drones up in the air, scanning and surveying the terrain with different sensors, and then stitch them all together and derive a very precise georeferenced points of the targets and do what we call threat area assignation. The core of the thing, obviously, is a software. We've building it for nearly 2 years, starting with the models. You might say that we are 80% software company. So we needed a very substantial ground truth training data set in order to get those capabilities of detection. And I can say that we are right now holding the biggest ground truth training data set for explosive threat detection within different spectrums in the whole Europe, if not in the world. We are already operational in Ukraine. So we've been deployed with humanitarian demining operators and State Emergency Service of Ukraine. And you can see the level of contamination on one of the fields. We have found also some other objects that we didn't suppose that we will find. We have found one fox, 2 raccoons, and 2 deers. Well, because they are anomalies and we have some of the algorithms there, the anomaly detection algorithms. So like finding what is deviant from the surroundings. Right now we are working very hard on solving the issue of threat detection in front edge of the battle area. This is the NATO classification of the zone, which is conducted behind your trench lines in here, 15 kilometers deep into your zone. It's called front edge of the battle area, or FIBA. And when the front is stalled, like in Ukraine, so the front is not moving too much, 95% of all the military operations that you do, or the operations as a military, you do in the FIBA zone. So you have logistics, resupply, evacuation, battle post establishment, convoying. So you have all these different operations then you run on a daily basis, from the back of the FIBA zone to the 0 line. And the adversary is constantly trying to challenge your FIBA area by throwing things at you. Because the ISR capabilities of the adversary span 50 kilometers behind your trench line, they see everything. And they see when the convoy is starting moving towards the trench lines. 5 minutes later, they call the guy on their 0 line and says, the road number 3, disrupt operation. They launch a drone, which is handling a landmine, and they drop a landmine right in front of the convoy, just 200 meters. Therefore, we've been tasked by Special Forces of Ukraine to deliver a system that will give a capability to detect threats in real time as the convoy moves. We're able to detect, oh, that's a very special item. It is a battle operation, a first battle-proven test of our system. This lighter belongs to the commander of the Special Forces unit that lost it like a month ago. And he didn't really care that we have found landmines on the path of his route. All he cared was this lighter that he lost. And that was the moment of acceptance of our capabilities into the MOD of Ukraine. So it is such a small coincidences that weave like the path that you're following. It's not the big contracts. It starts with finding a lighter. So over the course of the 2 years, we've been playing with a variety of agencies and players. We got a really big support from the Danish nation, and Danes are awesome. You should play with Danes every time that you have, because when the war struck Ukraine, the guys gave 19 howitzers to Ukraine, and they had 19. So they had 19 Caesar howitzers ordered from France to be delivered to Denmark to their own forces. But they gave all, leaving not a single barrel to themselves. It is a deed worth respect. And so if you have an ability to play with Denmark, play with Denmark. They're really cool guys, and they're very tough. And we're also playing with some others. So that basically concludes my small presentation. I invite you to please scan, connect with me on LinkedIn. Let's be friends. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your intervention. Are there any questions?
Anything. Detection, technology.
Looks like it was pretty clear, apparently.
Okay. Thank you so much.